We're going to start with feet shoulder width apart. Then we're going to place our palms together above our heads and reach up, and then bend ourselves over to our left side. Try and keep the hands and arms straight, and we're breathing in to the right side of the chest, the uppermost side of the chest. With each breath, try and expand the rib cage as much as possible. And come up to center and bend over to the opposite side, now your right side, breathing into the left side of the chest. Really try and expand the chest with each breath. And come up to center again. Now relax your hands and put the backs of your hands just above your buttocks, and then bring your elbows forward. You'll feel a stretch along the back of your shoulders. We'll stay here for 10 breaths. Now we're going to do the classic tricep stretch, so bring your right arm up and bend it behind your head, and use your left hand to put a bit more pressure on the elbow so you get more of a stretch. Again, with each breath, try and breathe into the right side of the chest. Focus on expanding that right side of the chest to its maximum capabilities. And switch hands. Now you're stretching your left tricep, but also the left side of your chest. You're using the breath in and the full expansion of your chest to stretch your intercostal muscles and strengthen your intercostal muscles. And relax there. Now we're going to go down on all fours. Have the hands flat on the ground with the fingers pointing back towards your knees. And then we're going to slowly start to lean back until we feel a stretch on our forearms. If you want to increase the stretch, then you can lift the palms off the ground so it's just the fingers on the ground. And you'll feel the stretch will increase. We'll stay here for 10 breaths. Okay, and release. Now we're going to stretch your chest. So lie flat on the ground, have your right arm at right angles from your body, and your forearm at a right angle to your arm. And we're going to twist our body in the opposite direction. So twist your body to the left until you feel a stretch along your chest. You might have to move around a bit in this position until you feel the stretch. And switch sides again. We'll stay here for another 10 breaths. Okay, now we're going to go up to all fours again, spine neutral, and we're going to take a breath in and arch our back upwards, focusing on expanding the back of the rib cage. So each breath you're trying to breathe into the back of your rib cage. We're going to do 10 breaths from the neutral position to a nice arched back. Breathe in as you arch up. Breathe out as you come back down to the neutral position. Now we're going to change direction, so as you breathe in, you're going to bend your back down, and as you breathe out, you'll bring your spine back to neutral. Now you're focusing on expanding the front of the chest with each breath. Again, this is stretching and strengthening your intercostal muscles. as well as giving you a greater range of movement along your spine. From here we're going to get back up on our feet and go into the triangle pose. So bring your right foot forward, have both heels in line with each other, drop your hips backwards and bring your body forwards towards the front foot. Have the left hand pointing up, your head looking up. You should feel the stretch right along the side of your upper body, all the way from your hip until your left arm. Again, we're breathing into the left side of the body now. Each breath should be a full expansion of your rib cage. Try and have the weight spread evenly on both feet, don't have all the weight forwards. And switch sides. Drop the hips backwards, let your upper body fall forwards. Looking up at the uppermost hand. And breathing in to the right hand side of your body now. The right hand side of your rib cage. Ten breaths here. And come up. Now we're going to go into the squat position. Feet slightly wider than shoulder width. You can bring your elbows to the inside of your thighs to help push your knees out a bit. But just make sure your knees are moving in the same direction as your toes are pointed. So as you push your knees out, you'll also have to bring your feet out. Now you can make it a slightly wider squat and come back down. You can move around in the squat, explore your range of motion. Now make it a little bit wider, come down into the squat, and then we're going to move over to the right side. Have your right foot pointing the same direction as your mat. Your left foot at a right angle. Hand either on the knee or on the floor on the inside of your right foot. And again, we're breathing into the left hand side of the rib cage now. And come back into the squat and move yourself over onto the left side. Again, if you're quite flexible, you can have the left hand on the inside of the front leg. If that's not available to you, you can just have your left elbow on the top of your knee, resting that way. Really focus on expanding the chest from the breath in, the uppermost part of your chest. And come back up. From here we're going to go into high lunge. So have your front foot and knee at right angles to the floor. Back leg, you'll have your heel off the ground. And then you can bring your palms together and try and straighten your hands and straighten your arms so they're pointing up. Now we're breathing into the front of the chest. So each breath you're expanding the front of the chest and trying to bring the hands further up and straighten the arms. Back leg should be straight and strong, heel off the ground, the weight spread evenly between the front and the back leg. And switch positions, switch sides. Now your left leg will have the right angle bend, back leg is strong, heel off the ground. Really focus on your breathing, really expand the chest with each breath in. Full breaths. And finish there. Come back up to standing position. Now we're going to go down and do the classic butterfly stretch. So you'll be sitting on your buttocks, bring the flats of your feet together, knees pointed out, and you can start to bounce your knees. You can use your elbows to push the knees down, hold on to the feet. We're going to stay in this position for 10 breaths. Be gentle with yourself. You don't need to force any of these stretches. Okay, so now bring your right leg underneath your left leg on top of the right, and we're going to perform a twist. So you can reach your left hand back and right hand over the top of the knee. So you've got a nice twist in the upper body. We'll spend 10 breaths here. From here we're going to do a double right angle stretch. So now bring your right leg so it's at right angles to your body, and your left leg so that's at right angles to your body. A right angle bend at the knee as well, and bend forward. You'll feel this stretch deep in your buttocks, in the piriformis muscle. This is a great one if anybody has sciatica. Okay, now we're going to change legs around and perform the twist again. So left leg under your right leg on top of the left. Now you'll bring your right arm behind you and use the left arm to help increase your twist. You'll be pushing against your right leg with your left arm to help increase the twist. Now we're going to go for the double right angle again. So right and left legs at right angle to each other, and bend forwards. You can move around in the position, try and find where the stretch is intensified, and stay there for a few seconds, a few breaths, and then move about a bit more. Okay, from here we're going to lie flat on our stomach. We're going to reach back and grab our ankles, and then with the breath in, we're going to kick our feet back and bring our upper body up into bow pose. We're going to spend 10 breaths here. You should notice the breath in is going to make you rock back, and then as you release that breath, you're going to rock forwards as well. Again, you're trying to breathe into the front of your chest, but this is quite an intense stretch, so you might not feel too much movement at first. And release. From here we're going to sit back on our buttocks, legs directly in front of us. Try and have your legs completely straight, toes pointing towards you, and then have your back completely straight as well. If you can, try and bend forward, but without bending the spine. So if you can bend forward, it'll be from your hips, not without a bend in your spine. You should feel a stretch right along the backs of your legs. Okay, now bring your left leg in, reach forward and grab your right leg, and then you twist your body to the side and then bend over in a side stretch. Breathing in to the left hand side of your chest. Each breath is a full expansion of your chest. You should feel a stretch right along the left hand side of your body. And you can switch sides now. Now the left foot's forward. Your right hand going over the top. So this isn't a forward bend, this is a side bend, a side stretch. Okay, and release there. From here we're going to go into happy baby, so just lie on your back, grab hold of your feet, let your hips go down to the floor, and then you're just trying to bring your legs to each side of your body. Leave your knees at about right angles. Now cross your right foot over your left knee. Grab hold of your left leg just below the knee. And you're bringing the foot towards your chest. You'll feel a stretch right in the buttocks. This is another great stretch for muscular sciatica. And switch. So now your left leg is over your right knee. Your hands go through the gap. Your left hand will go through the gap between the two legs. You'll grab hold of your right hand and you're bringing the foot towards the chest. And release and come up onto your knees. Now you're going to reach back and put your hands on your feet, and with a breath in, bring the hips forward and create a nice arch in your back. From here we're going to be breathing into the front of the chest, expanding the chest as much as you can with each breath. Keep the buttocks clenched to protect your lower back. We'll have 10 breaths here. And release. Now we're going to go into the press-up position, the high press-up position, and prepare for downward dog. And then bring the hips up and back into downward dog. Try and rotate your shoulders outwards. Push the ground away from your body. And you're trying to bring your hips up. And trying to bring your heels down to the ground. You can move about in the position. Walk the dog a bit, so try and bring one heel at a time down to the ground. From here we're going to go back into press-up position, push down, and into upward dog. So the tops of the feet are pressed against the ground, legs are straight, locked out, buttocks are tense. You're pushing the ground away from your body, so your shoulders should be pressed down, looking up, breathing into the front of the chest. Full breaths, really focusing on expanding the chest with each breath. We'll spend 10 breaths here. And come back into press-up position. And bring the leg up, the right leg up to the outside of the hands. Bring the left leg down to the ground, the foot flat on the ground, knee on the ground. And we're bringing our upper body as low as we can to the ground. So we're creating a stretch in the uppermost hamstrings. Just explore your range of motion here, explore how far you can go. And come back into the press-up position and switch legs. So now your right foot is flat on the ground, knee is on the ground. Your left leg is at right angles to the knee. And you're bringing your upper body as low as you can. Bounce around, move around. Explore the angle that your leg needs to be so you've got the most range of movement, so there's no impingement from your hip. And come back into the press up position. Bring the right leg back up to the outside of the hands, left leg on the ground. And now we're going to perform a back bend. So you're trying to bring your hips forwards, your arms are rested just above your buttocks, and you've got a nice back bend looking up. Focusing again on breathing into the front of the chest, expanding the intercostals with each breath. Try and have the weight on the front foot and the back foot, not on the back knee. Okay, and come back into the press up position. And we're going to switch legs. Left leg outside of the hands, right leg flat on the ground, foot flat on the ground. And we're going to perform a nice back bend with our hands just above our buttocks. Breathing into the front of the chest. Full expansion with each breath. We'll spend 10 breaths here. And then bring your hands back down to the ground. Come back into the press up position again. Now we're going to bring our right knee to the inside of our hands. Left leg flat on the ground. Then we're going to bend the left leg up and grab hold of the foot, performing a nice stretch for the front of your quads. So try and bring the hips to the ground rather than the foot to your ass. But once you don't feel the stretch by just bringing your hips to the ground, you can start to bring the foot closer to your buttocks, which will increase the stretch. And release, back into the press up position and switch legs. Okay, so once you've got hold of the foot, just focus on bringing the hip towards the ground. Once that range of movement is completed, you can start to bring the foot towards the buttocks. Breathing deeply, slowly. We'll spend 10 breaths here. And release back into the press up position. Now we're going to bring the right knee to the inside of the hands. The foot flat on the ground. The back leg flat on the ground. This is the pigeon pose. Should feel a nice stretch right in your glutes. Breathe deeply. We'll spend 10 breaths here. And then come back into the press up position and switch legs. Ten breaths here, and then that's it. Well done, guys.